Welcome back, everyone. Thrilled to present Tego Cyber Inc. It trades on the OTCQB under the symbol TGCB and has developed a cyber threat intelligence application that integrates with top-end security platforms to gather, analyze, then proactively identify threats to an enterprise network. Please welcome the CEO, Shannon Wilkinson. Welcome, Shannon.
Thank you, Anna.
All right, whenever you're ready, Shannon.
All right, perfect. So Tego Cyber, actually Tego stands for, it's Latin for to shield, cover, or protect, and perfect definition for a company that is in the cybersecurity space. So Tego Cyber, we are incorporated and we are actually headquartered in Las Vegas where I live. So it's a little bit interesting to have a Nevada corporation actually located in Nevada. As Anna mentioned, we develop state-of-the-art threat intelligence platforms, and one of the differentiators of Tego is that we actually integrate into existing cybersecurity tools. So it's the idea of a single pane of glass, but we're not forcing our customers to use our pane of glass. We're integrating into the things that they've already invested in. And I'll go a bit more into the platform, but first I want to talk about some of the challenges within the cybersecurity industry, which could really be boiled down to three main points. It's the growing threats that enterprises face, the complexity of threats that enterprises face, as well as the increasing frequency that enterprises see threats to their environments. And so with those, we find that really just the number of attacks against enterprises are increasing to the point that we see a connected computer, or in other words, a computer that's connected to the internet, which is pretty much all computers within an enterprise. They're attacked on average about every 39 seconds. You boil that down, that's about 2,200 attacks per day against a connected computer. And of course, you see the news every single day. It's like another day, another data breach. We see critical infrastructure, the Colonial Pipeline attacks, SolarWinds, Microsoft Exchange servers. Just the amount of attacks and the amount of threats that enterprises face on a daily basis are growing at an exponential rate, and it's overwhelming cybersecurity teams. So we need better solutions integrated into their existing cybersecurity tools, and that's where Tego Cyber comes in. Just some more statistics. Through the pandemic, we've also seen an exponential increase in cyber attacks to the amount that the FBI estimates that there's been a 300% increase in attacks against enterprises through the pandemic. And on average, we see that it takes organizations about 206 days to identify attackers within their environments. Now, in the past 3 to 4 weeks, we've actually seen that enterprises have started identifying attacks much quicker. I believe the statistic was that organizations were identifying attacks within about 24 days, not because we've gotten better at identifying attacks, but because attackers within environments are starting to launch their attacks quicker, and therefore when an attack is launched within an enterprise, then the enterprise realize, oh, we've been compromised, we're under attack. So, on average, if a cyber criminal does not launch an attack within that 24-day window, it takes about 206 days for an organization to realize that their systems have been compromised and somebody is within their environment. So those are just some of the statistics and the overwhelming odds that enterprises are facing today within the cybersecurity realm. And of course, we see as well, cybersecurity spending globally has increased over the past, 8 years or so. And we expect that we'll continue to see that kind of investment growing to be about $270 billion invested globally by 2026 in cybersecurity. Now, within cybersecurity, you may know that there's a lot of different segments. The segment that Tego Cyber sits in is the threat intelligence market segment within cybersecurity. It is really a segment that is within its infancy. It's one of the fastest growing segments within cybersecurity. In fact, it's growing at twice the rate of the overall cybersecurity industry, which the overall cybersecurity industry is huge. The threat intelligence market segment estimated to be about $5.1 billion and growing at a rate of 20% year over year. The growth is really driven by a lot of the digitalization of organizations today, IoT, the amount of threats, as well as, through the pandemic, there's now the virtual remote workforce, which is increasing the complexity and the kind of cyber threats that organizations are having to deal with. And Tego fits perfectly into the threat intelligence market segment because we are a threat intelligence company. Again, just a little bit about the threat intelligence market segment. Oh, another thing to mention about the threat intelligence, because it is in its infancy and kind of an emerging segment within cybersecurity, there are not that many competitors within the market space, which makes it ideal to be kind of one of the founding companies, one of the front runners coming into the market segment. A little bit about the Tego threat intelligence platform is that I'll try to boil it down and not geek out too much on it, but being a technologist, that can happen sometimes. But what the Tego threat intelligence platform does is it takes in all this curated and vetted threat data. And what I mean by curated and vetted is that our analysts actually go through and analyze our threat data sources before we integrate them into the platform, because not all threat data is created equally. It may not be relevant, it may be old, it may be outdated. So we don't want to pass that kind of threat data to our clients. And it is important also to make a differentiator between threat data and threat intelligence, because there is a big difference, and sometimes they're used interchangeably, but they're not. So threat data is really one single little piece of information. For example, this IP address is bad, and that's where the information stops. Threat intelligence takes the data and adds additional context and adds the information that a security operations analyst needs to make an informed decision. So it's the additional context of not only this IP address is bad, but this IP address belongs to this threat actor. They're known to do this kind of action. This is the type of thing that you should look for in your environment. They've been active as over the past 3 months. We've had information that they've been active within corporate environments in the past 20 minutes, and all that additional contextual information that helps a security operations analyst make a quick decision if that threat is identified within their environment. And that's really a differentiator for Tego, is we're not just a single little piece of information. So the additional context is added through the threat intelligence platform that we've built. Take in the threat data, analyze it, deduplicate it, add the additional context. And then another big differentiator of the Tego threat intelligence platform is, again, as I mentioned, we're integrating into existing cybersecurity tools. So enterprises typically use what is known as a SIM platform. It's a security information event management, I believe, is what SIM stands for. And our first integration is into the well-known SIM platform called Splunk. Splunk is a publicly traded company founded here in the US, and it is the market leader in SIM platforms. One of the reasons why we chose it to be our first integration, but also because of this really cool feature that Splunk has, as much like the iTunes Store or the Google Play Store for your phone, Splunk has something called Splunk Base, where they host applications developed for their platform. They encourage developers like Tego to build add-ons to their platform that enhance the value of their SIM platform. So Tego Threat Intelligence Platform will sit within Splunk Base, and should a customer be looking for a threat intelligence platform, they'll very easily be able to go search for Tego or Threat Intelligence, find our application, click install, download it, install it into their Splunk installation, and then come to Tego, get a license key, plug it in, and then off to the races. A very simple process to download our application and get a license key, and then start ingesting our threat intelligence into their existing cybersecurity tool. Of course, that means you're increasing the return on investment of your existing cybersecurity strategy and investments. So another great feature about Tego is that we're increasing the effectiveness and the investment that companies have made in their existing tools. Of course, I mentioned that the threat intelligence market segment is an emerging market segment within cybersecurity. There are a couple of competitors. The main two are Recorded Future and Threat Quotient. They have threat intelligence platforms right now that do provide some of the context, some of the threat data. Some of the shortcomings and the differentiators, again, is the plugin and the context to the context added. And the idea of the single pane of glass. So some of these other providers will make a customer, they'll show the information up in the Splunk, but then they'll make their customers go out to their platform, log into their platform to see the information, which of course increases the time, especially when you're faced with an incident. You've identified a threat within your environment. You really don't want to leave the tool that you're doing your investigation in and go to somebody else's platform, log in, try to get the information, and then go back to Splunk to continue research. We really need to try to make cybersecurity tools work with each other so that you're not running around all over the place trying to get information from disparate systems. Cybersecurity has become very complex. With Tego's threat intelligence platform, we're trying to take some of the complexity out and make it simpler by integrating into existing cybersecurity tools. So I talked a bit about the platform. Again, main differentiators of our taking in our threat data, adding the context, integrating into the existing cybersecurity tools, and just really, the single pane of glass, not having to leave your Splunk installation to get the information that you need. The revenue model for Tego Cyber is an annual license fee of $75,000 per year. We came up with this price basically by doing market research of competing solutions, which range somewhere between starting prices of about $60,000 all the way up to about $120,000 to start. Kind of finding that sweet middle spot where our clients believed that it's a price that they'd be willing to pay for this kind of threat intelligence data integrated into their tools. We've tried to make it as easy as possible to install, but of course we will offer some support and maintenance should clients need assistance with installation. With the growth strategy, basically with Tego Cyber, we are about 2 months away from commercial launch of the platform. We are just finished the initial development. I believe news went out today about the completion of our development of the platform. We'll be going to beta in the very near future with some select clients. And then after our initial commercial launch, we are looking to gain 100 clients within the first year of our commercial launch. Splunk, a bit about Splunk and their platform, of course, is that we are with Tego building on existing customer base. So we're not going out and creating our own customer base, but essentially every single one of Splunk's 15,000 clients worldwide is a possible Tego client as well. And we're looking to gain about 100 of those clients in the first year. So less than 1% of Splunk's user base. And then growing, adding about another 150 clients the second year, and then I believe 250 in the third year. Then going go to market, basically, we're just starting with a Splunk integration. So we've identified about 9 other SIM platforms that we will integrate to in the future, basically growing our customer base, adding on to existing cybersecurity tools. Some of the other integrations that we've targeted are IBM QRadar, Elastic SIM, AT&T Cybersecurity, formerly known as Alien Vault, Google Chronicle, Google has their own SIM platform, Logarithm, Devo, just to name a few. I think there's about 10 other targets that we've targeted for integration over the next 2 years, basically going through Gartner's Magic Quadrant and Forrester's report of who is leading in SIM platform development, who is capturing the attention of organizations. We are focused on the Fortune 2000. Tego is industry agnostic for basically industries and clients that we would work with. Basically, anybody that has invested in Splunk is a potential Tego customer, regardless of what industry they may reside in. A bit about our sales and marketing strategy, just being cognizant of time, basically we will rely on our direct sales team as well as a network of channel partners who are already working with the clients within the Fortune 2000, perhaps providing managed security services to them, as well as partners within the channel that are trusted resellers of solutions. So both a direct and channel partner model for our sales strategy. And of course, there are potential for government contracts in the future, being that government agencies within the United States do use Splunk and some of these SIM platforms in their monitoring of their enterprises and their agencies. Marketing really focused on brand awareness of Tego, being that we are kind of an emerging company, getting the name out there, letting people know the differentiators, the benefits of using Tego, and really just about awareness of us coming to market. One of the nice things about our platform is that we've built it to be very scalable and efficient, so that our projected gross revenues and our profits are as we scale more customers, it doesn't greatly impact our profits. Of course, at 75,000 annually, targeting 100 clients in the first year, that's revenues of 7.5 million. Because our costs are so low in adding new customers, we're actually looking at gross profits of approximately 6.3 million in the first year, just because the platform's so scalable. It is a cloud platform, basically software as a service type of model, where we're not, selling hardware and have exponential costs for delivering our product. After operational costs and everything, we're looking at profits of approximately 5.5 million in the first year. And I mentioned we are currently trading on the OTCQB as TGCB. We have had interest in joining some of the European exchanges through this summer, and we are targeting to possibly join the New York Stock Exchange Americas, getting shareholder count up as well as our trade price up, possibly in the spring of next year. A bit about our share structure. We're authorized at 50 million shares. We've issued approximately 14 million of that. Almost 10 million of that is held by friends and family as well as founders. Our float is about 4.5 million, and we have like 1.2 million held at the DTC. Of course, technology is really exciting, but technology without a great management team can greatly impact a company. So I'd like to take a moment to talk about our management team and our founders. Of course, you have me, Shannon Wilkinson. I'm a director, also serving as a CEO and currently CFO, which I hope to hand over very soon. But I come from a software development background. I started my career off with the United Nations doing software development, moved into managing development teams, software architecture. Met my wonderful husband, Troy Wilkinson, while I was in peacekeeping mission. He was seconded through the U.S. State Department as a law enforcement officer to train in IT forensics and do digital investigations and cybercrime investigations into organized crime, financial misuse, and terrorism and things like that. So he helped me co-found Tego Cyber in September of 2019. Very experienced, a cybersecurity rock star in his own right. He is currently the head of global cybersecurity operations for a Fortune 300 advertising marketing agency. Then you have Michael Dave Valera, who is a technologist from the city of New York. Michael comes to us with over 20 years of experience in technology and more recently cybersecurity. Great insights into technology and some of the market needs. And then just last month, we are very happy to announce the addition of Chris White, who is the deputy CISO for a Fortune 300 advertising marketing agency as well. It comes to us, technologist formerly with the U.S. Air Force, worked for General Dynamics, built the managed cybersecurity practice for Ernst Young, and just comes with, I think, about 25 years of cybersecurity experience as well. So a very experienced, very knowledgeable management team, not only in knowledge of the industry, but also with an incredible network of people that are interested in the Tego cybersecurity or Tego threat intelligence platform and our cybersecurity solutions. So that's a bit about our management team. Of course, we rely heavily on our auditors, our legal counsel, as well as our transfer agent. So we work with Harborside out of Vancouver, who is our auditor. Jessica Lockett from Lockett and Horowitz is our SEC and legal counsel. And then Jason at Signature Stock Transfer out of Addison, Texas, is our transfer agent. And I'll just wrap up and go to Q&A, but just some of the highlights about Tego and one of the reasons why we're participating in these investor conferences, really to bring awareness, being kind of a new company onto the OTCQB. Tego is here, a bit of our platform, our low share count. We are a low debt to equity ratio for investors. Really for the organization kind of exit strategy, we are a prime takeout target for other cybersecurity companies that are looking to build threat intelligence solutions, as well as the platforms that we're integrating into may be interested in acquiring us and folding us into their offering. Just about the organization, of course, our management team, our high gross margins, just the way that we've built our platform to be so sustainable and scalable very quickly, not exponential costs and adding new clients, and just the possibility of having exponential growth within the industry. So I'll wrap up there and I'll, I guess, open it up to any questions there may be about Tego and our platform or anything that anybody would like to ask.
Thank you so much. Great presentation, Shannon. We do have quite a few questions, so let's get to it. Who are your target customers and what is your growth plan to expand your customer base?
Yeah, so our growth plan, of course, is going after initially, because our first integration is with the Splunk platform. Those 15,000 Splunk customers are possible customers of Tego. We have relationships with Splunk and other Splunk integrators that we'll be relying on to get the word out about Tego, as well as we plan to attend and go to the Splunk conference in Las Vegas in October of this year. And then expanding the customer base, of course, is just continuing to target the Splunk customers, but then also growing our customer base through those future integrations, those 9 to 10 other SIM platforms that we'll integrate to, again, building on those existing customer bases of those other SIM platforms.
What is your biggest hurdle to growth once the platform launches?
I would say making sure that we continue to be relevant within the cybersecurity space. So that requires us to stay on top of the latest threats, continue providing timely and relevant data to our customers. So, just really being able to stay on top of the cybersecurity trends and making sure that we're able to provide value to our customers.
After the initial fee, what is the cost of your platform and what do you pay Splunk? Is it a percentage of sales or is it a flat fee?
So we are an annual subscription rate, so it's $75,000 per year per installation. So it's not typical that an enterprise will have more than one installation of Splunk, but let's say for some strange reason a company had 3 installations, that would be 3 separate licensing fees of $75,000 per year. The second part of the question was, Splunk licensing fees. So It's actually fantastic. They don't use the model of iTunes Store where we have to pay a percentage. They actually just host our application without taking any percentage. So we do not have to pay Splunk any commission.
Have you sold any platforms before Splunk, and are you going to sell your product on any other platforms in the future?
So we will be integrating into those 10 other SIM platforms. So we will be, if they have something like Splunk base, we will be hosting our application. This is our first launch commercial of our platform. So we have not offered the platform before.
And so there seems to be very little debt on the books. How much was invested to build the platform and how was that invested?
Yeah. So we purpose-built Tego to go public from the very get-go and use our S1 offering to be able to fund the research and development of our product and the development of product. We raised initially $250,000 through friends and family, and then we've raised about an additional $250,000 through convertible notes. We've had a very good response to our S1 offering where we're trying to figure out how to say it. Basically, we've had a great response to our S1 offering, and we're hoping just to increase the volume of trading on the market. And basically, we've kept things very lean and mean through the development process. We'll be adding more staff, adding more overhead costs. But our monthly burn rate has been about $20,000 a month. So we've kept it as lean and mean as possible through the development process.
And how do you fund your current burn? Are you planning on, or are you in the middle of any offering? And if so, is it in the form of debt or is it equity?
We are in an equity raise. We had our S1, which expired on the 9th of May. Our directors have decided to extend that for a 90-day period. Once that expires, we'll be filing a new S1 as well.
And so is your model going to replace any other cybersecurity product that is currently being used to defend your specialty part of the space? And if so, which product and which company?
So I did mention there were the other two competitors within the marketplace, which are Recorded Future and Threat Quotient. Our solution does replace those offerings. So if a customer has already invested in that, they may be able to replace those offerings with Tego Cyber.
And what do you anticipate your margins to be once sales begin?
Our margins are very high. So because we're in hosted infrastructure, we don't have to offer hardware to our customers. I believe it was 7.5 million down to 6.6 million margins. So we lose about $1 million out of our revenue for operating costs of our platform.
And which major tech company would fit your model? Would your model best fit with? Reframe that. Yeah, which major tech company would your model fit best with? Sorry, I couldn't read that.
Okay, no worries. So if we're talking about like which companies would be customers for Tego, again, it's really any customer that's invested in Splunk. If there's any company, if the question is targeted towards like possible takeouts, then Splunk could be interested in acquiring any of the SIM platforms that we're integrating into. Could be possible acquisition or merger and acquisition targets for Tego.
So are you planning to expand to any other avenues in cybersecurity, and what would that be? And what percentage do you think your current platform could maintain as a part of a potential product portfolio?
So we will stay focused on the threat intelligence market segment as far as our product offering goes. We have had some interest in expanding our offering into cyber threat intelligence reporting. So that would be, let's say you're within the hospitality industry. You as a client would want to know, what specific threats is your industry facing? Has your organization appeared, the information appeared out on the dark web? Has your organization's credentials been compromised? We have some potential partnerships in work to provide threat intelligence reporting to some clients. So that is an avenue that we are looking at expanding in. It's really complementary to the threat intelligence, what we're already doing. If I had to split it up, we'll probably be 85% threat intelligence and maybe 15% cyber intelligence reporting.
Great. What are the terms on your convertible notes? What are they convertible at? Is it a price or a percentage?
Our notes are currently fixed at a conversion rate of 10 cents. We also have warrants at 25 cents. And I believe the first note is coming up to conversion in July, and the second one comes into conversion in September, I believe. I'd have to double check, but I believe that's correct.
And last question, how much are you raising in your S1?
We did 10 million shares at 25 cents, so 2.5 million. We've placed about 4 million shares so far.
Fantastic. Wow. Well, it's been a fantastic presentation. Thank you, Shannon, so much. We really look forward to all of your updates.
Thank you, Anna.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. It's been a great conference. We've got one more coming up in just a bit. We're going to take a little bit of a break. Please stay with us. Remember, when we come back at 2:45 Eastern Standard Time, you're going to see a black screen while we transition, but hit the play button if you're on your Apple device. And we look forward to our last presenter for this conference. We'll be right back, everyone.